And this is Radio Bellady for Friday, December 8th, 2023. I'm Ray Hanania here at WNZK AM 690 radio. We broadcast on Facebook, we broadcast on YouTube, on many podcast platforms. And of course, I write for ArabNews.com and also for the ArabDailyNews.com, where you'll see a lot of this. Today, we're going to talk with Mahnoor Ahmad. She is a candidate and a Democratic candidate in the March 19th, 2024 primary election in Illinois for the 6th Congressional District. She is running against an incumbent, Sean Casten, who's been very unresponsive to the needs and issues facing Arab and Muslim Americans in this new 6th district. He was the person that defeated Marie Newman and took her out. She was one of the most responsive members of Congress that our community had in this new 6th district in Illinois. And she's looking for a lot of support from people out there who believe that members of Congress should be responsive to their residents. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we'll begin our interview with Mahnoor Ahmad. But remember that you can check out my columns at ArabNews.com or at Hanania.com, and especially follow me on TikTok. I'm Ray Hanania. We will be right back right after these messages. We're talking with Mahnoor Ahmad now on radio, and it's such a pleasure to meet you, Mahnoor, because I've read so much about you. You are a phenomenal candidate, and I think the Arab and Muslim community needs to better know you and understand you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Ray, for having me. It's such a great opportunity that you've created for, the folks in our community to be more engaged in what's going on. So thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's so important that they recognize people from our community. I know you're not Arab, but when Americans look at us as Arabs and Muslims, I happen to be Christian. I feel like I'm Muslim by culture. We face the same challenges. So before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself, your role in politics, how you got involved in it, and what you're doing today before you announced you were going to run.
I guess you could say I'm partly Arab because my mom is Kurd descent and my dad is. I was born in. I moved to the States when I was 7 years old. So that is my background. I grew up in the Oak Brook Terrace area my whole life. I went to college at Loyola Chicago. And then I went to Purdue in Indiana for my master's. And I began working in healthcare very closely with, physicians. And I've already knew a lot about them because I have a lot of folks in my family who are in healthcare. And I saw how every single day I would go to work and I would see the physicians are unhappy with the turnout, the patients are unhappy, and you could just see that the insurance company were just gaining more and more access and power in the healthcare system. And the physicians and patients were paying the price. And that's what got me involved into, changing this, because I could not stand I'm going to go to work for the next 50 years and see this through and through. And either, I turn the other way or I do something about it. And being in healthcare, I think you just have the instant gratification. You need that gratification that you're doing something that's not just, brain numb and you're just doing nothing to. So no matter what you did in healthcare, the way the setup is when it comes to, the infrastructure, that needs to change. I've seen people firsthand, legs be amputated because they did not have a primary care physician who saw their diabetes. So it's absurd. These people, have jobs, they pay their taxes, they pay their property taxes, and then their legs are being amputated and they can't walk anymore. And this is happening in this modern medicine world, and that needs to change. There are people who have to pay out of pocket for insulin when they need it, a month, $300. They don't have that. Majority of America is living paycheck to paycheck. No one has that. And we should be able to provide the basic necessities of living. And the same thing comes with asthma. So we need to do something about it. There's a lot of the current people who are in power, especially in my district area, they voted no to a lot of these advancements when it comes to FDA and NIH advancements. I personally know 3 girls who are around my age, who've had cancer. One of them actually passed away. And that's because we're buying and using these products off these shelves that are 80 years dated. And it's the responsibility of Congress to address these issues. And a lot of them, their hands are tied with corporations. That's why I've refused all corporate money into my campaign. I don't want my hands tied anywhere. I want to be free to be able to make the correct decisions for the people.
Now, I know this is your first election, correct? Is this the first time you're running for public office?
Yes, that is correct.
But you've been involved with the Democratic community and Democratic organizations for years. It looks like your bio, when I read it, it looks like you've been very active in the community, very involved. It's not like you just surfaced and decided to run. This has been a natural progression, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I've been very, when people say you've been involved in healthcare, it's not, and healthcare is politics. A lot of it is.
Yes, it is.
Sadly, that's the truth. So when you say, you have no, a lot of people think that, you need background in politics and stuff. That is a huge platform right there. Healthcare is big pharma. Everyone is very invested themselves into all these legislations and laws in place.
So you have a master's in public health.
Yes.
You participated in Emily's List, fellowship program, which is a huge distinction.
Yes.
You were born in this country. Your parents are from Pakistan. Did you mention one of your mother was part Arabic, you said, or?
So both my parents were born there. I was actually born there too. I came here when I was 7. My mom is Kurd, or my late mother was Kurd, and my dad is Baloch. I speak Balochi at home. I know Farsi and I know Urdu. And I guess I know English.
And you do great in English.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Was it the health issue that pushed you to decide to run in the 6th district election that's coming up in the Democratic primary? And just for listeners, that's March 19th, 2024, where you'll run against Sean Casten. Now, Casten has, been in office for, I think this is his 4th term, I believe. He took out a great woman candidate, which is so painful to our community, Marie Newman. She was a phenomenal congresswoman. And they divided her district intentionally to undermine the Muslim vote, the Arab vote. They divided the 3rd district into 5 different areas. Part of this went into the 6th district where you're running now, but there's still a big Arab and Muslim population in that district. But you're reaching out to everybody, correct? This isn't about being Muslim, Pakistani, or even, to the Arabic community. This is about helping everybody, correct?
Yes, that is 100% correct. So Casten has been in office since 2019, and Murray was a phenomenal candidate, and it's sad that it didn't work out. But again, Murray has been helpful in my campaign, and so it's been good that there is a good platform that she had created for the district itself. She has lots of supporters who reject a lot of the healthcare policies in place, and a lot of the other stuff that's going on now. So that really helps the district, already be known, like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? So they're not really just new to this new candidate. They can relate a lot of me to Newman. And it is not just about, just the Muslims or the Arabs. I think ultimately everyone just wants lower taxes, their kids to be safe, to have an education, to have healthcare they don't have to pay exorbitant amount of, to have gas prices they can afford, to have, they just want to live a good life. And that's what anyone cares about. It doesn't matter if you know what faith or what background you're from. And that's what's great about this district is, you know, it has a lot of multicultural, a lot of insight that you could, you know, enjoy of other cultures, other people, other backgrounds. And that is a good part about this district.
And how do you, what can you do with the issue of health to make a difference, for example, not just in our district, because whatever you do in the 6th district could be a model for doing in districts all over the country. What do you think needs to be done differently to make healthcare more accessible, that addresses the proper issues that need to be addressed? People can get healthcare, but sometimes it's not the kind of healthcare that they need. It's not comprehensive enough, may not address the issues that they have. What do you tell the voters and to residents of the district, this new district, what you can bring regarding healthcare? What would you do that would change things for them?
So right now we have something in place that where the healthcare systems, as in the insurance companies, are the one who are making profit, and they have to increase their prices by just to get their fair share, and then another 20% for shareholders. So, you know, our minimum goes up 50% right away when it comes to insurance companies just doing what they're doing. Even when it comes to Obamacare, you know, even a person who makes like 40 to 60,000 a year, they still have to pay out of pocket a couple hundred per month, and people can't afford that. Elderly populations, they can't afford dental care that will cost $1,000 or plus per month. There's elderly who are, you know, suffering with joint aches and pains, and they just go in and out of pain management physicians, and they're on pain meds for years and years, and now they've become like addicted to that, and that's like another opiate crisis on its own. Those surgeries are elected now. Like insurance companies, you know, a lot of them recognize them as elective surgeries. When it comes to dental, it's the same issue. These are severe issues in our district, and we need to head on be aggressive for them. And, you know, it comes from practices like, you know, when it was representative, when they represented a social determinants of health data analysis bill. You should pass those. You know, you should pass supporting anything for the NIH. You should pass anything that wants to advocate patient tracking, because all this information is what makes us create laws and legislations and sees the problems. If we don't pass these social determinant factor legislations or supporting the research of NIH or advocating for patient care and tracking them, we can't make any calls without any kind of research that we have in hand. So first and foremost, the people who are, you know, currently elected officials, they just vote no to these bills. So we need to elect people whose hands are not tied in corporations and anything like that, and they're voting no to all the right things so we can move forward and do something about it.
I was going to say that, you know, I've always understood that the healthcare industry was really run by the insurance companies rather than the needs to make healthcare available to the average person. Has the incumbent congressman not been responsive enough to do that, do you think? I mean, have you looked at him? I know that the Arab Muslim community and a lot of minorities feel that he's been very unresponsive to them. And I know that that's a problem that he's going to have to answer for, but I don't recall him ever doing anything significant with regards to healthcare. Is that because the healthcare industry is run by the insurance companies, you think?
So there are bills that have come to his desk and he's voted no for that could have really helped the technology and research department in healthcare, which is what makes laws and legislation and those are the equipment you need, basically the tools, the research, the numbers to look at to see, hey, this is where the problem is. So if you can't even process things to study where the problem is, you're not going to go anywhere. So yeah, we need people who like the active ingredients in sunscreen are 2 decades behind. And Congress needs to pass something to study that, to get the numbers, to do the research, to get funding for that, and correct that issue. And the people we have in power are not doing that.
So it's just they're just not. Listen, I've covered politics for years. I know the insurance and the banking industries are the two lobby groups that stop anything that they don't like. They donate huge amounts of money to elected officials to get what they want and keep things in place. But for example, I know that the 6th district, almost 30 to 33% of the district are seniors age 60 and over. And they're facing choices regarding, Medicare. And that is so confusing. And the older you get, the harder it is to understand these systems. Nobody wants to address any of that. And I've always assumed it was the healthcare industry that's stopping changes to make it simplified, to make it easy so that seniors get the care that they need. There's so many healthcare traps there. And which is why I think healthcare is so important in this district and in this race. You being a healthcare professional, I think you recognize these issues probably better than anybody. Are those problems that you think you'll be able to address, change, make healthcare more accessible, more understandable to voters in the 6th district?
Yes, you have. So I went to a senior healthcare fair recently in our district, and you have no idea how many concerns all the seniors have with everything that's going on. Even if they have Medicare, it doesn't provide them with everything that they need. And when it comes to, these are the things that Medicare and Social Security, Reagan put in place, but a lot of the money was taken out for general funds. And, now we have seniors who are concerned about their Social Security benefits. And we have to treasure our seniors, that they are the ones that hold all the great stories, all the great knowledge of what we have been. And we have to, protect them, and we have to keep them safe, because that is also a vulnerable population as well. And we need to address those issues.
And when you talk to seniors, do they actually tell you they're concerned about their health care and things, that nothing's being done for them, that they need more attention and more support?
They're very frustrated. They talk about the pain of their toothaches, their joint pain, not able to get medicine on time, having to go through various insurance in Part A, Part B, and all that. They have so many concerns, and so many concerns of not getting the aid that they need, especially because they make you, you call this person, and then you got to call this person, and then you got to do this and that and this paperwork and that paperwork. And a lot of the seniors don't follow through with that, and they don't know how to do that. And that's another problem. They make it very hard just to get your proper care. And that shouldn't, this notion of, having good care, good health care is only for the elitist, is we have to completely tear that down, because based on your socioeconomical background should not dictate your health. You can't say that, oh, this person deserves better health care than that person because they have better insurance, or then where are we as a state, if we make those claims?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Now, I know that healthcare is a big issue, but there are a lot of other issues. One of them, again, this has to do with seniors. There was a bill, and as a congressperson, when elected, you would have an opportunity to support it, to prevent the double taxation on Social Security recipients. Basically, seniors and people who receive Social Security after the age of 62 or higher, depending on when they were born, they pay taxes before the Social Security money is taken out of their payroll checks. And then when they retire, we're told that, well, if you make over $50,000 a year, so most seniors can't live on Social Security, so they have to go get another job. when you combine their Social Security, which they paid for, and the work that they're doing so that they could keep up with this horrible inflation, they're going to be taxed. 80% of their Social Security will be taxed. And that's a double whammy on them in terms of paying taxes. It doesn't seem right. Have you been able to look at that issue at all? Is that an issue that you think you'd be able to address?
I have talked to individuals who have said that, oh, my dad, he can't he's only getting this much from Social Security, which is, I think it was like $300 to $400. And they've worked their entire lives and think that because they're retired at this age and, they all these little things that they've taken out and they can't live, and now I have to take them in and I have to take care of them. It's a serious problem. These are one of the hardest working Americans that we've had. This particular individual had 3 jobs and raising all these children on his own, and now that he's old, he cannot. The government has absolutely nothing in place for him to help him out. And I've seen a lot of people at the grocery store who have like carpal tunnel and they can barely walk and they're using canes and they're still working because they have to pay for things, basic necessities. There are seniors out there who buy canned dog food because actual food is too expensive. And these are problems not from third world countries. This is happening right now, right here, live.
I want to take a quick break here at Radio Bellady in Detroit, which is broadcasting online on Facebook. And I'm going to write some news stories about this for you. We're going to get the word out on this because I think people in the district need to know who you are, and we're going to do everything to help you. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Mahnoor Ahmad. She is a candidate, a Democratic candidate in the March 19th 2024 Democratic primary election for the 6th Congressional District. She's a phenomenal candidate that's getting a lot of praise and attention from a lot of corners of the district. And we'll talk about that district just to make sure that people who are able to hear this know that they're able to cast a vote for a great candidate. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back right after these messages.
All right, thank you.
And we're back with our guest, Mahnoor Ahmad. She is a Democratic candidate running in the Democratic primary on March 19th, 2024 in the state of Illinois for Congress in the 6th District. She's a phenomenal candidate. And the people are just really excited about your race. I mean, I have not heard more about and I've been covering politics 45 years, Mahnoor, and I have not heard as much about your candidacy as I have from people in this election as I have had over my entire 45 years. So I'm very excited to see you, and you're very responsive. You didn't hesitate to say, yes, I will talk to you. And once people get in office, sometimes that's the hardest thing to get them to do, to follow up on that one promise, to sit and listen to what people say. And I think your commitment, as we were talking, is that you're going to listen to everybody in the district. You're not going to shut anybody out, right?
Yes, that's true because I am 100% generated by the people, especially the people of the district. And, refusing the money from corporations and being completely by its own people, that's who you have to listen to and that's who you answer to. You don't answer to any corporations.
Yeah, I think that's important. Now, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the impact of inflation. And that doesn't just hurt seniors, that hurts every working person in the country. The inflation, the minimum wage has only recently started to go up. But over the last 40 years, the levels of taxation, when the federal government looks at what you make, they still tax you at a very low, they start at a very low rate, and you have to pay money. The $21,000 that is the minimum start for taxation 40 years ago would have been the equivalent of maybe $80,000. Today, we're taxed pretty much for everything that we make, and it doesn't seem fair, especially to those who depend on welfare, who depend on Social Security, who are retired. What do we do to make the adjustments to compensate for inflation more equitable for the people who pay the taxes. Is there a way to change that, and has Congress not done enough to address that issue?
I think the best example for this study would be that when the pandemic hit, there were 20 million people who lost their jobs. And during that time, there were around 650 billionaires who made over net worth of $1 trillion.
Wow.
So that became richer by $28 trillion since the 1980s. Unless we address these significant changes quickly and aggressively, the America inequality will just worsen. And we need to, first of all, see what is going on. And that's what's going on. If you look at the numbers, the prices of every single thing, just living, just breathing, has gone up. You know, gas, water, electric, everything has gone up, from getting food on your table to trying to even get to work. And that we need to address. I've talked to a lot of single mothers who, you know, they work a job, and they also have to worry about paying for preschool, and then they have to worry about affordable childcare. They can't do it. There's no way for them to do it. What are they supposed to? The money they're earning, which, you know, the women generally, whatever, there's already disparities there. Then you add the burden of, you know, having to take care of all the expensive of daily life, and then you have to take care of your child, and having preschool. Preschool should be something that we just able to afford, because we can't afford it. It's something that is, you know, something that we're giving to the society that will give back. These are the future of this is the future. The children is our future, and we need to understand that. And that's where it starts. It starts from taking out things like affordable childcare will help this. Giving children, you know, preschool will help this. Having wages go up, giving women the rights and whatever they need in order to take care of the 80 things they have to do. We need to facilitate people who are taking care of our next generation. We need to enable them so they can better take care of our next generation. And we can't do that with, you know, having the minimum wage be the minimum wage since the 1970s.
And just again for our listeners, we are talking with Mahnoor Ahmad. Her website, by the way, because I think everybody should be aware of this, is ahmadforhouse.com, AHMAD for house.com, ahmadforhouse.com. You can go there, read about her, you can reach out to her, you can support her, you can do everything that you need. And you don't have to live in the 6th district to support her and help put her voice in Congress where she can speak for our community. Let's just talk quickly about the district for residents in Illinois. Tell us a little bit about the 6th district. What do we know about the new 6th district that was redrawn about a year and a half ago under this remap, which I think, again, was intended to divide and break up the voices of many people in the original district who really needed a voice. It was done to silence us. Well, tell us a little bit about the new 6th district.
The new 6th district has a lot of DuPage, but it has a good chunk of Cook County as well. So it goes all the way up to Oak Brook, it comes down to LaGrange, and then it cuts off up in Orland Park area. So there's about over like 50 cities that encompass this district. And what's most interesting about this district is, you know, you're talking about silencing the voices of the people right now who are really trying to outreach and discuss the ceasefire, which needs to be a permanent and lasting ceasefire at this point. And the Chicago has been the hub of immigration ever since Chicago was Chicago. It was actually founded by an immigrant. And that there was a lot of increase of Palestinian immigration in that area. And Cook County,
Yes.
which is a huge, this district, has the largest population of Palestinians in America. So right now, the platform, you know, is that they have a great voice in this district, and they can use that to just talk to other neighboring cities and people from the other cities, and DuPage County and Cook County. And again, I will say this, they're mostly middle class people who just want to live a good life. They just want to have to not pay exorbitant amount of money in taxes, not have to worry about their children being safe or not, having be able to put food on the table that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, just the basic life and all of that. They just care about that most of all than anything else. And as a person working in legislation, you should be able to give that to your people that represent, that you represent. And that shouldn't be a hard task to do. It shouldn't be a hard task to listen to their concern, and talk to them about what is going on, and really do something about it, and have that, and just have those conversations. We have to have those conversations. If we don't have those conversations and we just cut off and we're not even there, then who are you really representing? Yourself? Because no, you're not talking to anyone else and getting any input.
So your commitment is, when elected, you're going to be open and responsive to everybody. It doesn't matter, what your race, religion, or ethnicity is. That's what I'm hearing you say. And I'm assuming it doesn't matter about political party, whether you're Republican or Democratic. They're part of your district. You want to hear what they have to say. You don't have to agree 100%, but being responsive, I think, is the most important thing an elected official can do. When somebody reaches out, you got to be responsive to them. And
Right.
what I'm hearing you say is that is a big commitment to you.
That is, ever since I started campaigning, all I do is talk to the people from the district, listen to what they have to say, know what their concerns are, have these conversations, know their stories. That's how a grassroots campaign like mine, that is going to have a long-term relationship with their constituents, lasts. And that's how, making that commitment of, not being bought out by these super PACs and corporations, it makes the campaign rely on its people, and to generate that kind of energy. And that's what I want. I want the people, what this position is, to represent the people. You're representing the people, and that's what you need to do through and through.
So I know that this new 6th district, the bulk of it comes from that district you talked about, which had prior the largest concentration of Palestinian and Arab and Muslims as one group, one of the largest congressional populations of any congressional district. And yet they did everything they could to chop it up, but they still put a large segment of that population that includes Orland Park, Orland Hills, Tinley Park, Alsip, Palos Heights, Palos Hills, Chicago Ridge, Hickory Hills, all the way to Burbank, Bridgeview, Justice, Burr Ridge, Indian Head Park. That's like Little Arabia and Little Islamic area for voters who are of that persuasion. That's a big voice. And I don't understand why the incumbent has refused to even address those communities at all. His old district includes, and it includes in the new district, Downers Grove, Westmont, Lombard, parts of Glen Ellen, Lyle. You're going to support those areas and reach out to them, correct? You're not going to exclude them the way he's excluded the South and, the southern part of his district, are you?
Like I said, I grew up in this area. I know he hasn't. He moved from another state, and he has grown his adult life here. But this is home for me. This is my home. This is my district. These are my people. And in each of single one of these towns, I have a memory in. I have friends in. I have people from the local that I share stories with. These are not just voters to me. These are actual people who have connected deeply with.
Are you able to talk about the Middle East and Ukraine? These are, as a member of Congress and a federal elected official, you would have a voice in terms of some of these foreign policy issues that we face. Can you give us a little summary of your perspective on Ukraine, your perspective on the Israel-Gaza conflict, and any other issues that you feel. The war against ISIS. I was just on a State Department briefing a few days ago where they said that ISIS and Daesh are expanding beyond the Middle East into sub-Saharan Africa and into Asia. And it seems like the terrorists that we thought we constrained in Syria and Iraq are actually growing and expanding. That has to be worrisome. Give us a little perspective on your foreign policy and how you feel about all these issues.
So I think that what's going on in Gaza and the issue with Palestine, it's an issue that goes decades, right? It's nothing new. We've seen it. But now we are seeing the worst part of it because it's in our faces. We can see the babies in pieces, chopped up. We can see the women giving birth with like they're cutting off 7 layers of their tissues to take out a baby. We're seeing the worst of humanity taking place right now, and we can't just turn the other way. We cannot do that. It has become internationally embarrassing to do that. Every part of the world is rising up and turning against what Israel is doing, and we cannot go on like this. It is unsustainable to be with the status quo right now. It is nothing good can come out of this if we don't. Yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, I was going to say that I think you're saying, from what I hear, that you're saying the Israeli government isn't really doing the right thing. But you're not anti-Israeli. This has become such a divisive issue. If you express support for the civilians in Gaza, they've been turning that into some form of horrific, bias or discrimination. But what I hear you saying is that we want to protect all the civilians, regardless. It doesn't matter whether they're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. Correct?
Correct. There is the thing is that the attack that is being done in that little 5-mile radius is they're saying they're attacking Hamas, but Hamas is infested in this area, right? They've killed about 2,000 Hamas members, and there's about 40,000 members. So in order to take out the rest of them, you would have to take out the rest of the civilians. It just statistically, that's what you would have to do. So is that the plan? To keep on continuing and bombarding these children, these women? More than half, 2/3 of these are literally children.
Yeah.
I mean, as a mother, when I pick up my son and putting him there, or my nieces, my nephews, I can't even see those images anymore, because when you see those little bodies picking them up and here and there, it just gives you flashbacks of things you've seen, the horrific scenes you've seen that is still taking place. And that is something we need to address just as human beings. This is a human right issue. This is nothing about Jewish or Muslim or Palestine, or this is nothing to do with that anymore. It's gone far, far beyond that. This is an issue that needs to be addressed peacefully. And as America, as a country of democracy, we should be the ones who initiate that. We should be the ones front run, saying that we're the ones who represent peace. We are true Democrat state, and that's what we want. We won't take part in continuing bombardment of children and women.
And you're not afraid to speak out. I mean, anybody that tries to say what you've just said, which I think is so centrist, so moderate, stop killing women and children, stop killing civilians. There's a legal rule of law process. If somebody commits a crime and they go into a school in Chicago, we don't bomb the school. We don't bomb the neighborhoods to get the criminal. We use our expertise and professional experience to target the criminal, take the criminal out, or bring them to trial and prove the accusations. All that stuff has been pushed aside, and it just seems that the government of Israel is just bombing as a means of hoping to get everybody, and it's too bad for the civilian population. I don't understand why there are people that can't and are afraid to speak up, as our incumbent congressman. He's avoided the issue. And I think it takes courage to parse through the proper way, the way you are, and saying, look, don't kill civilians, don't kill women and children, regardless of whether they're Jewish or Christian or Muslim. I think that's the proper position to take. Is it hard to explain that to voters, do you think?
A lot of the voters, I think the media is doing a terrible job at portraying what is actually going on. I think it has gotten better since, you know, every part of the world is rising up to support the cause. And I think that in a time like this, you need to just be it's just a natural concern to be human about this. This has nothing
Right.
to do with politics. This has nothing to do with any of that. Just viewing these images that are coming out of Gaza and just seeing what is happening. It has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, we're trying to say something about this group, we're trying to say something about this group. It has nothing to do with that. It has become a human rights issue, as the UN has also stated that. There are international laws of war being broken to keep on continuing like this. And we as a state, you know, should not be doing that. We should not be taking part in something that against and should be. And that's what we need to focus on. We need to take out this whole rhetoric of, oh, it's a conflict, and you know, they have this is going on and that's going on. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're killing civilians, and you cannot, that needs to permanently stop.
And tell us a little bit about, I know there's so many other issues. We only have a few minutes more left, and we so appreciate you taking the time. You've been so responsive. And I think, to me, again, I've covered politics 45 years. Responsiveness is as important as the issues. We don't have to agree 100%. I may disagree with a few things that you say or do, but the bulk of what you're saying is so important, especially the healthcare issue, the foreign policy issue. Tell us a little bit in our remaining few minutes about Ukraine. What is your position about what is happening in Ukraine today?
So we supported Ukraine from Russia, right? We've always been the people who are trying to help the population that does not have any military aid or any kind of strategic equipment to protect themselves. We should be doing that throughout. You know, the rhetoric should not change from one thing to another. We should protect any kind of state who is trying to just live, literally. These children and these mothers and these people, they have no say in what's going on. But since we have the power to help them, we should help them. That's ultimately it. That's it. It's nothing. It's, you know, all these things. It ultimately comes down to what kind of a human are you? What are you saying to the society about you when you take these stands? When you stand where you stand? What is it saying about you? And was that truly who you are, who you want to be, who you want to be remembered as? Those are the questions you
And
should be asking when taking stance on these.
and I know a lot of people from our community are upset with President Biden, and but they're also upset with President Trump. It makes for a very difficult, former President Trump. It makes for a very difficult situation. Do you have any feelings about this political choice that the community has to make in the presidential election, not in the primary, but in November of 2024, when we have only two candidates, maybe a third candidate, but third parties never do very well in our two-party system. Well, what do you say to them in terms of how do we address this issue?
I am running as a Democrat because me, as a woman, as a person of color, as a person who's Muslim, the Republican Party has openly targeted and openly insulted just being a minority. I could not look myself and be representative of something that those are what the leaders are doing. I understand the anger and everything that is going on with the Democratic Party, but that's what we need. We need to elect better Democrats. We need to elect true Democrats who represents a true democracy. Because if we were a true democracy, if we were thinking about the true democratic way, what is happening in Gaza is not the true democratic way. That is not. There's nothing democratic about that. And that's what we need to represent. We need to get more people elected who will truly represent the values of what a Democratic candidate looks like. I think that these people seeing what these previous candidates have done, they're shied away from the whole system. And if you do that, then you're not being counted at all. And that's even worse.
And any final thoughts, any other issues that you wanted to mention that I didn't bring up? You've been so gracious to talk about the issues that I think are important in the district. Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to mention that you think needs to be, spotlighted?
An aggressive and a progressive way to change climate. The quality, again, their childhood asthma and the level of blood lead that we see in blood of children, that's outrageous. Back in 20 years ago, LA was, they used to call them red days where no one would go out. And we changed that, right? We fixed it. We introduced all these infrastructures, all these climate change rules and regulations that changed it. And now everyone can go outside. And that's what we need to do throughout. We need to take aggressive climate change actions and help the climate.
So how can they help you?
So there's a lot of ways that you can help us. First and foremost, vote. There's a list of all the districts that are encompass the area. You can find out exactly if you're in the district or not. If you can't do that, please volunteer or donate. We're 100% people-run campaign, refusing all money from corporations and super PACs or anything like that. So please go and donate to the cause, and we can and we will win this together.
All right. I want to, first of all, thank you again, Mahnoor Ahmad, who is a candidate for the 6th District, Congressional District in the March 19th, 2024 Democratic primary. It's a longtime committed Democratic activist in this region. A lot of people know her. There's an excitement about her candidacy because the incumbent has just been totally unresponsive. And it's not about issues like when I talk to people, it's about being responsive. If you don't agree with somebody, you're going to listen to them and you're going to talk to them, because that's the way we work in a democracy. We hear everybody's voices and we do what we believe is right. But hearing everybody's voices, whether you agree or not, is so important to do the right thing. Mahnoor Ahmad, her website is ahmadforhouse.com, AHMAD for house.com, ahmadforhouse.com. I hope everybody out there does what they can to help her. You people out in Detroit, you listened to me for the last 10 years. This is a candidate you need to support. I think she's going to be, when she gets into office, she is going to be a very strong voice nationally for the community in a very fair and important way. So you need to do something, even though she's not in your Detroit district. And for those people in Illinois, don't sit back and say, oh, things are going to change. You may be upset with the president. You may be upset with some local politician. Don't be upset with voting in the 6th district for somebody who's going to do a great job to represent you. Mahnoor, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with the conclusion of our show. And thank you for listening to our radio show. I'm Ray Hanania. Remember, you can get information on all of my writings and all of my interviews and podcasts by visiting my website at hanania.com, HANANIA.com. We'll talk to you again. See you later. Bye-bye, everybody, and thank you very much.